Good afternoon. I want to welcome everybody today to a special version of Layne's World. And I have to give a couple of quick disclaimers, but before I do, let me just introduce our wonderful superhero, Mike, today, who's otherwise known as Mike Tomaino. Have I got that right, Mike?
Yeah, Mike Tomaino.
Thank you. You know, I've known you for so long, right? And I always know you as superhero Mike. So this is a real pleasure to have you on today. Just a very quick disclaimer, as everybody knows, the opinions expressed herein today are not necessarily those of the University of Florida, the Board of Trustees, the Board of Governors, or the state of Florida, or even of Student Legal Services. And a quick trigger warning as well that some of the topics that we'll be covering today may be controversial. They may be intellectually stimulating, and there's certainly no mandatory attendance required. You are free to leave at any time. That being out of the way, Mike, we are prepared to go forward. And I've gotten so many, I could fill up the entire page, right, with accolades for you. But I was going to say my biohacking, Frisbee friend, fellow Jungian, spiral dynamic, idol. And what I can truly say is really what I'm trying to do is intellectually engage with my idols in Gainesville. Okay, and Mike, you are definitely on that very elite list today, and you're here for a very important reason. You're not only one of my heroes, but you're literally a superhero. That's why we have you on today. To introduce yourself, can I ask you, Mike? Can you give us a little idea of your life journey? What brought you to Gainesville?
Well, what brought me to Gainesville is pretty easy. I am from upstate New York, and I was running away from the cold. It is very cold there. There is no wearing shorts in February, March time. You know, it's not so enjoyable. And so I was tired of being stuck inside all the time, and I wanted to come out and be able to run around and play sports anytime during the year. And Florida is a great place to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, and I am cold today. I was going to mention how chilly it is at 63 degrees, right? We'll call it Florida cold, right? Big difference.
Big difference. Usually the highs in New York are around 5. Like if it gets into the 20s and the 30s, it's a heat wave.
That's amazing. And that's why, like you mentioned, we're in Florida, right, Mike, you and I.
Absolutely.
Is there any other things in terms of your life journey, Mike, your inspirations, right, kind of along the way? Can you share some of those with us?
As in people that have inspired me?
Absolutely. People, events, any special details, can be books, for example.
You for sure. Lots of
Thank you.
books. Anything that helps me learn more about myself and helps me on the journey to become a better person. I really like a lot of psychological works, especially Carl Jung. He's my favorite. Jordan Peterson has a lot of insight. I know he's a little bit controversial at times, but I think he does make some great points as well. Trying to think. I really like philosophy, Marcus Aurelius, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, all the big ones. Epictetus, he's fantastic. Yeah, anyone that I think has does a lot of thinking and has something to offer, I really enjoy considering.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. That's wonderful. I want, you and I have discussed, I know, so much. In fact, we could fill probably hours, right, with our discussions. Tell me, I'm an INFJ, as you know, right? What is your Myers-Briggs, we'll call it acronym?
It is INTJ.
INTJ. Tell me a little bit about INTJs and what they do and what resonates with you.
Well, I think the easiest example of an INTJ for people is Elon Musk, and he's obviously a little bit smarter than me, but we have a lot of the same mannerisms with, at least in my opinion, with how we kind of speak, and it's very much like in the head thinking all the time, lots of thoughts all the time. Try to remain as objective and logical as possible. Yeah. So it's introverted, intuitive, thinking, judging. and so the judging isn't actually like judging other people or something like that. It's more being uh like very like rigid and like, well, not necessarily rigid, but like streamlined, like very scheduled, very managed. And versus the P is perceiving, I think. And it's like, like they show up to events like a little bit more loosely, like, pretty much like whenever they want, not really scheduled, more for free flowing, at least in my understanding.
Excellent introduction. I think, and you and I, maybe that's one reason we resonate, right? I'm an INFJ, you're an INTJ, right? Pretty close. And you and I have joked about it, maybe depending on the day, right, that we were to take the test, right? There might be a slight swing in there, as well. Big reason I've got you on today, Mike, and I think it's so important. It's a message that I really want to put out there to my students, and the viewers of this, is your book, How to Be a Superhero. And I think I want you to explain it, what the message is in it, and I'm hoping you have a copy of it today to share with us.
Yeah, let me grab it. So here's a copy of the book. And
Great.
so this is actually limited edition. This is a copy that they send you before it actually goes for publishing, just to make sure that it looks all right. And so this is like one of, I think, 2 copies. So yeah, limited edition. But yeah, so my book is How to Be a Superhero, but it's how to be a real life superhero. And essentially it's about finding like what is your real life superpower or powers, training your body and your mind, dealing with negative people and situations, and going out into the world and being a superhero. And my number one way of being a superhero is to simply say hi to people. Because if you think about it, there's so many positive things that are happening psychologically, like when you just say hi to a person.
I've noticed, I remember the interactions when you and I are at One Love, right? Cafe, for example, right? People that walk by, Mike is so friendly to everyone, right? And he's always like, hi, hello. And it does brighten up people's day, right? Just doing that simple act of kindness and connection.
Absolutely. I've seen so many people that look like they were, down in the dumps and having a rough day. And I just said hi to them and they just lit right up. And I've actually made so many friends from just simply saying hi to people, because oftentimes, just the hi leads into more conversation, and I get to know the person more and more. And oftentimes we end up becoming friends, which is really cool.
This is, my issue is I love hanging out with you, and talking. And of course, we're Frisbee buddies, as well. But, so many people that, almost everybody that walks by, right, seems to have known you or connected with you on some level. Is that due to your saying hi, that simple act of hi?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I actually feel bad if I don't say hi to people. And I think it's because I feel like it's a chance that's missed to brighten up someone's day, and it makes me feel good too. Like, and uh, people don't always say hi back, and a lot of people are worried about that. Well, what if I say hi to someone and they don't say hi back? Well, that's on them, and you only have control over yourself, and also you don't know what's going on in their head. Like, they might not have had anyone say hi to them before, and so they might be still processing what happened, and so next time they see you they might say hi, and maybe not. And so sometimes, like, maybe it'll take a few highs. There are definitely people that even just walking around One Love that I said hi to several times and then acknowledged me back, and then finally eventually they did, and and I could tell that it actually like meant a lot to them. So you never really know the effect that you're having on people. And I think also what's great too is when you say hi to somebody and brighten up their day, then they're going out, then everyone else that they're encountering, they're much happier and helping to brighten up their day as well. So it's really like the butterfly effect.
Thank you for that. I love the idea of paying it forward, right? Passing it on, one person to another. You and I know there are so many great life lessons and about in how to be a superhero, right? We could spend like hours, discussing these. You focused on a really good one today. A segue, can you tell us a little bit about a program that I believe very strongly in, and I know that you've become involved in, the Guardian Ad Litem Program, especially locally in Alachua County?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've teamed up with Guardian at Litem, and I'm actually going to be helping them with their training. And they're actually using my book in their training, which is, probably like the most exciting thing for me ever. Well, among the most exciting things, because I'm actually working with a lot of nonprofits now, and trying to do what I can to help make the world a better place, and to especially help kids that are in rougher circumstances. And so Guardian ad litem is a fantastic program where they have an adult help a child through the legal system, because the child unfortunately doesn't have a responsible adult in their life to do it for them. Um, so these kids are typically removed from their have been removed from their homes, and so these adults like volunteering to help these kids is just absolutely fantastic. And to be able to help be a part of that is just it's so great. And I can't wait to get the messages like to the kids, to let them know that they do have superpowers, and that they are important, and they matter. um because kids that are in this rough situations, oftentimes they don't feel that they're worth anything. Like when like a kid being removed from their home, it generally means that it's not something good with their parents. And parents are where we learn most of our values, and that we're you know that we're loved. And so if that's not present, that can be very difficult for anybody.
Thank you for sharing that, Mike. I really want to get that message out there about the importance of the program, and just helping children in general. I know your life, you've been a teacher, right? Still, I consider you a life teacher, right? Life coach, at least for me. This wonderful book, that you've written with all these tips. Thank you. I really want to promote Guardian Ad Litem program. Abuse and neglect, I've shared with you, it's so hard for me with children, being involved in the system. A lot of us have a tendency to turn our heads away because we don't want to confront, right? What's happening sometimes, in our lives and around us. I think you've taken it and you've embraced it, which I think is just a wonderful thing. Anything you can do to help. The idea of being kind to others, and Mike, it's something that you keep reminding me of also. Be kind to ourselves. Is that right?
Absolutely. I've realized actually only recently how important the relationship with oneself is, and that like that's really the most important relationship that you have. And it might seem kind of obvious, or kind of almost silly in a way, but I think really trying to have a dedicated healthy, strong relationship with yourself is one of, if not the most important thing that you can do. And because also, like, once you're able to have a healthy relationship with yourself, then that really helps you to have a healthy relationship with other people. And also to it helps you be able to put up the boundaries against unhealthy relationships, and make sure that you're respected, how you should be, that you're treated how you should be. Because if you don't respect yourself and don't have a good relationship with yourself, that's when it's easy for you to get walked over, taken advantage of, or be in unhealthy relationships. So it's super, super important.
Mike, thank you. I think I need to put that on a loop and just play it back to myself every morning, and
I'm
probably
sure, me
evening.
too.
It's something that I forget. And thank you for reminding, me and our viewers again, about that. Such an important message. Gosh, getting into all of that, we could talk about shadow work, that would be a natural springboard here, right? Spiral dynamics, everything. But we'll do a part two. Let's do that, because you have so many great messages here, and let's see what the response is. In terms of the dialogue, the chat that we're having today. I do want something that you've been very kind enough to give me a copy of, and so I want to give a shout out and a very big thank you again, Mike. Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, and I know you can't give a copy to every one of our viewers, but can I share one quote with you real quick?
Please do.
Great. And this is book 4. It'd be number 49, for those of you that know about meditations. To be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. I almost like to pair that, the idea that if you're the rock, the stable one, right? Being there, helping others. Jack Cornfield has a corollary, I think, much later, that I also like. I've shared with you, I know, and Vincent as well, which is, um, uh, what is it that you can't, what is it? You can't fight the waves, but you can learn to surf.
Yeah, that is a great quote.
Yeah. And I'm probably butchering it, but I just love that quote as well, Mike. In terms of that, can I ask you any closing thoughts for our viewers today you'd like to leave us with, a message that will resonate with us?
Yeah, well, I think talking about the Marcus Aurelius quote, that really the key of what he's saying is learning to be unreactive. And I think that's something that I've been working on with myself a lot, and I think is incredibly important and incredibly useful. Because it's not that you don't feel anything, but learning how to not react to stuff. I really like the quote that life is like about 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to it. I think that is really a strong message.
Thank you, Mike. I'm the themes that you were mentioning today, having you on today, your compassion, your kindness, your caring, helping others, I think is a message that will really resonate with all of my viewers. And I just want to thank you again for being here today. We've got to do a part two, shadow work, spiral dynamics, all of those fun things, the archetypes, we can get into all of those. But thank you again. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate this for being on one of the first and early episodes, right, of Layne's World.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure getting to chat with you.
Great. Thank you and take care.